Yep.
Hello. It's Aaron from GameEnthus.com, and today I'm checking out Shuffle Grand Prix, which is a racing car game by Bicycle. So Shuffle Grand Prix is a card game. It says 13 and up. My 10-year-old played just fine. She almost won. 2 to 4 players, and it says the game takes about a half an hour. So let's see what's in the box. All right, so in the box, of course, you have instructions. Not a big surprise there. And you have 16 trophies. I'll explain what those do in a moment. And then you have the racers themselves. So I think you have 8 different racers. I can get all these cards out. So let's see if I can put all these sets together. So we have Remus the Wizard. My cat is really trying to get in on this video. My cat Freeman. So if you see a paw or hear something, it's Freeman. So we have Remus the Wizard. You have May the Scientist. My girls really appreciated May the Scientist. And every character has like a different ability. So his ability is when you are spun out, keep your top distance card. That'll make more sense in a moment. I wish these piles look neater, but here we are. We have Katana the Musician. So we have Emma the Engineer. Romero the Hacker. I realize my thumb is covering up a lot of it. Romero the Hacker. This was another favorite of my girls. Noodle the Cat. I mean, it's a cat driving. Yeah, looks like Bart and Homer's boxcar derby. I mean, you know, Noodles no Ronnie Beck. Lev the Spy. And we have Slingshot the Rocketeer. So for each character, you're going to get a tire health card, one per player. So you start off with 4 health, 3, 2, 1. So how it would work is you would take your character, take May here, and when the game begins, you would begin with 4 health. You get hit, you have 3, 2, 1. So yeah. Probably didn't need to explain that, but there we are. And for moves that have a turn to them, of course none of these, oh, this one does. Let's see the earworm here. So this one is active. The earworm is active for 2 turns. So you would start it off when you put this card out and you have the 2 exposed. As a reminder of how many total you have to do. So in addition to those, you have, the usual reference cards and that kind of stuff, which is pretty standard. But how the game works is you want to go the furthest distance in the game. So you have 75, 50 distance, 100, ooh, cheetah, 25, snail. So it is a racing game of sorts. Okay, so let's set up a 2-player game. Let's say one player is going to choose Noodle the Cat and May the Scientist. The other would choose Emma the Engineer and Katana the Musician. So you take out their character cards, which detail what types of cards they have, as you can see. So let's take May here real fast. I'm also kind of assuming that May is named after Mae Jemison. It's pretty dope. So the card types you have are action, equip, nerf, trap, and anytime action cards. And then these sort of the hints of how you would use them. These are the different types. So traps are interesting because they can hit you, which is a risk reward to that kind of thing. It's pretty cool. So you pick your 2 characters and you shuffle the cards together, and we'll be back in a moment. So to choose your pilot or your first racer, you can't race it both at the same time. You would choose your racer, put the other one underneath the card, and then put your tire health out. Like so. And I'm setting this out a little bit differently because in a normal game, how we set up, you need a little more space. But this is just an example. The person will be off to the side or on the other side there. Just want to point that out. So from the distance deck, each player would choose 1 card. Whoever's card has the longest distance on it would go first. So let's say May chose 75 and Emma chose 25. May will go first. These will get shuffled back into the deck. You begin a turn. And the turn begins by you always picking a distance card. So pick a distance card and put it out in front of you. Like I said, it's gonna, you can't have somebody really right next to the person unless you have unless there's a lot of space between them. This is just for an example. So the first thing you do is get a distance card. If you have any action cards that are turns, you would rotate the turn card for any action cards. I don't have any just yet. And you also would draw up 3 cards from your combined deck. So 1, 2, and I'll try to get another one. So for example's sake, so let's say this is my hand, 3 cards. So we have a Tesla coil, which is an action card which inflicts 1 damage. You have a 2 a.m. scramble, which is to take an action to draw an additional distance card. Pretty nice. And reflexes, which is anytime steal 1 card being played by another player and place it in your hand. That's pretty cool. So I'm going to go with the Tesla coil. So I'll inflict 1 damage onto Emma, and since she has no way of defending it because she hasn't actually started yet, she's going to get hit. So she's going to go from 4 down to 3. And the whole thing is, once someone's health gets down, once the person is down to 1, the character's down to 1, and then 0, you say the game had gone on longer, and let's say these were the cards Emma had out in her distance. I'll give myself a couple more too, just for an example. Let's say these are the cards that Emma and Katana had out. So if your racer gets dwindled down to 0, you switch racers, which means whatever her special move is, she cannot do because she's the co-pilot now. And Katana will start off with fresh health, which is nice. You also lose your top 2 distance cards. So these will go away into a discard. And whatever her hand was at the time would also go away. And any other equipped cards or anything else that she had laid out would also go away. So that is sort of the whole, I guess, the penalty for being wiped out, or for spinning out, excuse me. And if you cause someone to spin out, you are awarded with a trophy. So how the trophies work is, if you have trophies, if you've earned them, you can spend 1 trophy to swap your racer on your turn. That could be advantageous based on what their power is. You might really want to use another character. It just might be better for you. So you can spend a trophy to do that. You can also spend 2 trophies on your turn to perform another ability. I guess that means play another card. Yes. You can play an additional ability card if you were to spend 2 trophies. So the game is fairly basic, and the game ends when the distance deck is depleted. When the distance deck is depleted, that's the last turn. That is the end of the game. Whoever has the longest distance is the winner. And that's sort of simplifying it, but that is the crux of the game. A lot of the abilities are pretty neat. Like, you have abilities, like you have the action ones, but the trap ones are kind of cool because you can put a trap out there which says something like, this says cat videos, trap. Place next to the distance deck, which would be right here. Steal the next 75 distance card drawn. Discard after triggered. This would just stay there until it happens, I believe. So, and it says boost on 75. So once someone picks up a 75, it belongs to you now if you put that card out, which is kind of nice. There's other traps that hurt. There's a trap that says, one that says something along the lines of, if you draw a 25 distance card, you take a damage. If you put that card out and you draw a 25 distance, you take a damage. So there's a risk reward to playing some of the traps. You're betting on someone else triggering it and not you. So also, this cup does not come with, I just like these cups. I got this idea from someone and I like them, so I got a whole bunch of them. That's how the game works. It's pretty neat. I played with my girls. We had a lot of fun with it. The only thing that I think was a detractor was if you make someone spin out, yes, you can make them discard their top 2 distance cards. And, you know, by the end of the game, you're going to have a lot. But there is no real way of coming back. Like, the deck isn't really large enough such that if you kept inflicting damage on them, you can't, like, combo up damage, as far as I know, and then make them get rid of, like, 6 cards. Maybe over the turn, but there's also cards that can heal. There's cards that can heal tire damage. So you could go from, a 1 back to a 2, whatever. You could always go back up in your tire health. The game is fun. I just kind of wish there was a mechanic such that when a person has a really big lead, there was a good way of catching up with them, because right now there really isn't a good way of catching up with them. If they're ahead by a significant margin and the deck is dwindling, they're going to win. And that's fine. I mean, I guess play better, but because you're beholden to just what you get when you draw, somebody could just kind of get a lead and then there's really no way of taking it back from them. And that can kind of be a detractor, because it's fun to play some pretty cool cards and put traps out there and nerf other people's abilities and make them switch and things like that. But when we played, we really didn't get a whole lot of trophies. Like, we didn't have enough damage cards come up in our hands to do a significant amount of damage to get a whole bunch of these trophies. Now we're playing with 3, maybe with 4, perhaps. Maybe it's based on the characters we chose. Maybe some of the characters are more offensive. So maybe, But the game is fun. It's cute. I just do wish there was a mechanic such that you could come back from behind. But that's also maybe a lesson learned. Just sometimes you just can't. Sometimes you start off, you're behind, and you just lose. So something to be said for that, I guess. So that is some of my impressions of Shuffle Grand Prix. I did enjoy it. I don't know. I think it's kind of a nice in-between game. I don't think anybody's coming over to play Shuffle Grand Prix per se. Not anything wrong with that. I don't think you're going to invite people over to play this game, but I think in between larger games, this is a nice maybe 15, 20, 25 minute kind of thing while maybe you're prepping for something else. So I dig. And it's, I think it's something that's good with kids and an older set of folks. So yeah, that is Shuffle Grand Prix. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you have not subscribed already, please do so. Leave comments. I don't get that many, so pretty sure if you leave something that's reasonable, I'll respond to you. And something should be on the screen right now, allowing you to click on other videos and watch them, and also leave comments and, this, that, and the third, the usual stuff. So if you made it this far, thank you for watching. Take care. Be blessed.